21 questions here on KC Sports Network. This is brought to you by GEHA, a tremendous partner of KC Sports Network. And I am excited to be answering questions from KCSN subscribers with another tremendous partner here, Charles Goldman, A to Z Sports, some time at KC Sports Network, a tremendous guy, and also a guy doing tremendous work over at A to Z. Charles, been a while since you've been on here with me. Good to see you again, my friend.
Happy to be back. Always love hopping on, answering some questions for the KCSN faithful. Feels like old times.
It's always fun to have you back doing this stuff. And so like it'd been, I think we did it right before the season started, like right first week of camp, something along like sometime in July. And so I was just like, you know what, we need to get Charles back here and do some good stuff together. So we are going to be answering questions from KCSN subscribers. If you subscribe to the KCSN Chiefs newsletter, if you are a premium subscriber, you get access to all kinds of premium content, but also you get access to the KCSN Discord where all of these questions come from. So make sure you are checking all of that out. Link will be in the description, or is in the description of this show. You can join over 17,000 subscribers to KCSN's Chiefs newsletter. Charles, you've done a lot of great work on that Chiefs newsletter in the past.
I love what it's become. And hey, the Discord server, it's as great as it's ever been. So much different conversation, whether it's just, talking about the Chiefs and, getting to participate in stuff like this, or, every one of your passions, you can find someone to talk about it with in that Discord server. And I absolutely love it.
I'm trying to get into a better habit of talking on it. So like I've done better over this year. It's like you got a golf conversation. I got roped into a Costco discussion this week on there. I mean, it's good. It's
for
good
me.
Stuff.
You'll spot me in like the video game channel. I need to the animals channel or the dog channel. I gotta start posting pictures of the puppy Chief in there, because I'm sure he's got some fans out there in Chiefs Kingdom.
I got into the fantasy football league chat recently. Okay. That's another one. Like I really wasn't playing a ton of fantasy football, and then one of my buddies started a dynasty league, and it lives rent free. It is so much fun. I'm having so much fun with that thing, and it's been really. I mean, Maddie's in it too, so like. It's me, Maddie.
That's some competition right there.
I'm not trying to put Maddie on blast. The league does this thing where it's like you get a point, you get one win for an actual win, and then one win for beating the median every week.
Right.
One of us is 14-0, and the other is 0-14.
Oh, brutal. That's brutal.
I won't say who. I won't.
I inherited a dynasty league that's like a best ball league, and it was the league winning team last year, and I don't know, I must have cursed it somehow, but like all of my quarterbacks are hurt, my big running backs hurt, my wide receiver, my top wide receiver Puka Nacua, he's hurt, everybody's hurt, man. It's brutal. That's Maddie's team. Oh, sorry, whoops. Gave it away. Maddie's team's like he's had a bunch of injuries. Like he's had CD. He's had a lot of injuries. Lamar. There's a lot there. But it's fun. It has been very fun. So I've been in the fantasy Discord a little bit more than I normally have. But yeah, all those questions come from KCSN Discord. So if you want to add your questions into the mix, sign up, join the Discord, and throw them in there, and we'll be sure to answer them. We got a great question off the top from Leighton Y44. Would you extend Jaylon Moore this offseason based on his play this year to be the right tackle for the long term? What do you think? I'd extend him to be any of the tackles for the long term, to be honest, based off his play from these two games. I think the question needs to be, like, will he want to do that? Because I think, he's 27 years old. There's got to be a sense from him that if you can get another contract right away, you might want to do that, because, who knows what happens next year? Yeah, maybe you get the starting job at one of the tackle spots, but if you end up hurt or something like that, are you going to have an opportunity to get that next contract from this team? Who knows? So if you feel this is your best opportunity to get it, I think that you got to do that for if you're Jaylon Moore and if the team has that mutual interest. I know I would definitely sign him if I were in charge, but he might not. He might be one to bet on himself, and that's totally reasonable at this stage of the game in his career.
What a savvy move, I think, from Brett Veach. And maybe it was ultimately what kind of got the deal over the edge to be able to get Jaylon Moore on a 2-year deal, right? Securing more than just like a 1-year type deal and getting some legitimate money to Jaylon Moore. I think he's going to prove to be a tremendous value for this team if he does kick over and play the right tackle spot in 2026. I think maybe just with the way that this team is constructed, I don't know if it makes a ton of sense. Like I get the allure of trying to extend them even further out beyond next year. But just knowing that the cap hits for the interior of the offensive line are going to start getting up there pretty quick, I do have a little bit of pause about if they want to invest that much more into the right tackle position. But I'm not going to be mad either way. I think he's done a tremendous job. And, hopefully, he's able to be a long-term piece for, at least for the next couple of years. And hopefully they're able to get this offensive line kind of intact for this rest of this year, but also for 2026 as well. You got something else?
I just think it's impressive that like this team has figured out that maybe like investing in that swing tackle position is a little more worthwhile to them than investing in some of these other spots, even in the starting spots. I mean, we've seen what happens to this offense when the tackle position isn't healthy or when the offensive line in general isn't healthy. And, they legitimately have, one guy at the tackle spot and one guy at the guard spot who they consider like basically extra starters. Mm-hmm. And that being the two fellas from Western Michigan, Mike Caliendo and Jaylon Moore. So, I think that's interesting. It'll be unique to see if that's a trend moving forward too, even beyond, the Jaylon Moore years.
A lot of action in the trenches there, supporting that offensive line. But yeah, it could be something that you see. Like, I think it was just tremendous process by the Chiefs to make sure that they insulated themselves well. And they insulated themselves, and it's proving to pay off like almost immediately. And like that's a credit to this staff for coming up with that game plan. And I mean, I think you've kind of seen, like, I feel like if Jaylon Moore had to play for the entirety of the year, I think they would have been fine. I think they would have been just fine. I a small sample size to this point, but I think you feel pretty good about where things are going right now with the left tackle position, even in the absence of Josh Simmons. All right, Casey from KC asks the best and most realistic defensive line trade targets, Charles.
Trade targets. I think there's quite a few out there. I think interior and edge, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously with Omar Norman Lott going down, I think the need on the interior is probably a little bit stronger than the need on the edge. Mm-hmm. Though it would be great if you could get both. But this is what I've been going back and forth on, and Kent, maybe you can weigh in on your thoughts on it. But I see kind of like two paths here, because Brett Veach, when they cut our friend Mike Pennell, he said, they want to get younger at this position. They signed a bunch of guys, some of these young guys, the practice squad, who didn't work out on other teams. And they tried to trade for Jawan Briggs from the Cleveland Browns. He ended up with the Jets. Like they tried to do a lot of things to get younger at that position. I feel like, it maybe didn't work out as they had hoped in that scenario. And my question here is, at the trade deadline, you kind of have to weigh, are you sticking with the desire to get younger at the position and the long-term desires, or are you sticking with the short-term goal of we're trying to win a Super Bowl this year, as we are every year, but we're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. And historically, you've been more successful adding veteran pieces to the defense ahead of a run. right? I mean, we can even look back to Mike Pennell when they signed him, back in 2019. But, we're talking about Terrell Suggs. We're talking about Melvin Ingram. We're talking about, some of these veteran guys who've been around, been in multiple systems. They know how to pick things up quickly and easily. And, that's what I keep coming back to on this situation. It's like, a guy like a Shelby Harris or a Danico Autry, like they're not the sexiest names out there, but that's the salty veteran that you can get in there and he can play that week. Like he's a guy who can get up to speed on that system, play really quickly and make a contribution, and is going to be motivated too because they're probably on a 1-year deal or towards the end of their career. They want to get that ring, and as much as I would like to see them go out and get like a young guy who can be a piece for many years, I feel like one, that's more expensive, right? And two, it's just there's few and far between, right? There's a reason that teams are going to be moving on from guys like that. Probably some injury concerns. Maybe they've just not been performing up to par, so on and so forth. So that's kind of thing I keep going back and forth for on these different trade candidate options. Do you stick with the veteran guy, or do you go with the youthful guy who maybe has a couple years on his contract that you can potentially extend or have as like a big piece for your team down the line?
Yeah, and I do think like the market is going to present more opportunities for the short-term rentals, like for sure. Like I think to your point, like I think that is like most likely the option that the Chiefs are going to have, especially from a cost perspective. From a draft capital perspective as well. Like I think assimilation into the defense is another important factor here, right? And like think about like, I know Josh Uche, there's a lot of reasons that thing didn't work, but I think you want to make sure that you find guys that fit. You also want to find guys that are going to, assimilate nicely into your defense. And like some of these established vets have definitely been able to do that and be impactful in the past. And I think that's the kind of route I think I would look to take if I were the Chiefs. And, I think edge or interior makes sense. I think both of those are two positions that I think you can get up to speed for the most part pretty quickly if they're an established vet. And like I think from a draft capital perspective, I don't think the Chiefs have like an abundance of it for 2026. And so what you're surrendering, you have to take that into consideration as well, because high draft capital for 2026 means like you're really not going to have a ton of it at this point. I think the Chiefs might have 6 or 7 picks at this point, just kind of depending on what you're looking at. So I think that is I think that's that could be a little bit problematic for them, and they're trying to figure things out. We're going to take a break. We even got another trade deadline question. We're going to answer that and plenty more right after this.
Calling all Chiefs fans, you could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pre-game coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm Brett Goodwin, one of the owners of The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a neighborhood toy store in Prairie Village, Kansas. This has been here in this location since 2000s, and my husband Alan and I purchased the store in 2023. Alan and I grew up in families where we've always wanted to have a business together. Alan grew up, for instance, his parents had a jewelry store. I worked in a local toy store here in Prairie Village when I was growing up. When this opportunity happened in 2023, we knew right away we wanted to contact them and pursue the store. We wouldn't have been able to get the store without the team at Emprise Bank. From the day we contacted them, they knew what we needed to do, which was very helpful. I would absolutely recommend the team at Emprise Bank to anyone looking to secure a business. We worked with Emprise from day one. They were extremely helpful. They were always great resources. We talk to them frequently. They know the area. They're very friendly. We know who we're going to talk with, and they know what we need to do. We hope we'll see you at the Learning Tree.
Hanging out here on 21 Questions, getting all the questions from the KCSN Discord. You want to sign up for the KCSN Chiefs newsletter. Link is in the description of the show. T. Reeves asks, which players, if any, could the Chiefs potentially sell at the deadline. Would Kristian Fulton be a candidate to trade for cap space? What say you, Charles?
I would be surprised to see Kristian Fulton traded. The one thing about this, and I know it's not a whole lot of dead money, but Clark Hunt really does not like dead money. He does not like that. He legitimately, one of the things that he sees as a failure before the Andy Reid, Brett Veach, John Dorsey era, right, is just how they handled dead money and their cap space and how they handed out certain contracts. I would be surprised in part because of the dead money, but also because I think that Kristian Fulton still has value to this team, a lot of value to this team. You look at what happened with Jaylon Watson a season ago. They didn't have a Kristian Fulton who could step in and play that outside cornerback position to the success that they wanted it, right? So having him, even though he's not playing right now, and paying him is extremely valuable. And also not just to this season, right? He's got on a 2-year deal. You've got a lot of guys in that cornerback room who are potentially, heading out after this year. Josh Williams, Najee Johnson, Jaylon Watson, basically all the guys that you got in the 2022 draft outside of Trent McDuffie. So you've got Noel Williams, but beyond that, you're going to need that third guy in the nickel defense. And it very well could be that Kristian Fulton's a starter next year, even though he's not a starter right now. And the Chiefs knew getting into, when they signed Kristian Fulton, they knew about the knee, they knew about the cleanup, they knew that it was going to take some time for him to get back on the field. So I think there was an element of wanting to ease him into action a little bit. And, they did get him on the field early, but then he had a couple of ticky-tacky type injuries, and then Noel Williams stepped up, and here we are, right? It's a great thing, a great problem to have too many cornerbacks. I know there are a lot of teams in the league that wish they had that situation. Just looking at the cornerback room, I think that a guy like Josh Williams is probably more appealing for a team on a trade scenario, because it's not going to cost them a whole lot. He's on an expiring contract. If he does come to your team and ends up performing well, either in a starting capacity or backup capacity, however you have him, you can extend it, right? And, he's a guy who hasn't played enough throughout his career that he can command a whole lot on an extension. So if I were an opposing GM calling up Brett Veach, I think that would be the more appealing player for me. I feel like Fulton would cost a little bit more, and probably that might dissuade some teams, right? Unless they view and value him as a guy who can immediately step in and start for their defense, then, maybe some teams would value him a little bit higher. Probably talking about day 2-ish pick, maybe, if you're lucky. So I if you can get that much out of it, maybe it's worthwhile for Kansas City to go out and buy a good pick. But I'd be a little surprised because, also those teams are going to see what Chiefs fans are seeing right now. He hasn't been on the field, hasn't been playing, coming off the knee injury, right? So there's a lot there to kind of dissect, right? But I do feel like if they are going to trade someone in that room, it's probably going to be Josh.
I think it'd be hard to find a Kristian Fulton market for all the things you just outlined. A market that they would feel comfortable surrendering him for an asset, and for a team to be willing to do that, what it would take to do that, considering that there is no tape on him for 2026. There's not a ton of information on the situation with the knee. And he had such a weird start to the season with, injury and not being able to have a full camp and all of those things. You take all those things into consideration, ease them back in for the home stretch. Why don't, I'm not ready to write off the Kristian Fulton contribution. I'm just, I think it's just the early season, the early season nature of it, I think, is what is kind of getting people a little bit, up in arms. But I think there's plenty of time left on the 2025 season. And hey, look, Brett Veach likes to be able to roll a team out there on the first day of the draft, right? And that's one of the things, is he wants to be able to have a team he can go compete with, and then whatever the draft brings. Kristian Fulton, Noel Williams, and Trent McDuffie in 2026 sounds fine to me. same with the offensive line situation too. Jaylon Moore at right tackle.
Okay.
Like, I think you can roll the ball out and go play football pretty comfortably if you're the Chiefs in 2026 with the roster they have. I mean, it's a good group. it's a good group. So I think there's a lot of I'm not ready to dismiss him yet. I think there's still plenty of potential for him to make a contribution in 2026, no doubt about it. All right, bring Bink home asks, boy, I wonder what this question's going to be. What would you trade to bring in Sir Bink? And if you don't know who Sir Bink is, it's Colin Saunders of the New Orleans Saints. Charles, what would you be willing to give up for Colin Saunders to return to Kansas City?
I don't know, but get that man some burn ends. He's craving burn ends. He needs them. Look, I would probably say like a day 3 pick would probably be enough, or a pick swap to get it done. I mean, he's not playing right now. He seems to have suggested on social media, and not to read too much into his tweets, that there's no reason for the fact that he's not playing. So like, I mean, I think this is a guy that the Chiefs know, someone who knows the system, who could come in, who could play and slot in pretty easily for that spot that they're kind of missing. Doesn't need to play a whole lot of snaps per game. I think Omar Norman Lotz, he capped out at 22 snaps. That was his season high. Like, I just think you want to get another guy in there, and another guy that you trust, because right now, if the solution to this is to play Chris Jones, Derek Nottie, and Jerry Tillery more, it's a losing battle. Getting Omar Norman Lott involved there helped the defensive line immensely. If you can't find another guy to do that, you're going to have some problems down the stretch.
I don't know. Like, I think for a guy like Colin Saunders, I think it's more, and I think the Chiefs should be in the pick swap business period this year, because they don't have volume of assets. So I think they should be looking at pick swaps for some of these acquisitions if they're going to try to do it, right? So that's kind of that's how I've been kind of looking at it for this year. And I don't think it would be a conditional pick swap probably for somebody like Colin. I don't think the bar to clear is going to be super high to acquire somebody like him. So I think that is a logical name, especially as much as this team likes to bring back faces they're familiar with. So I like that idea. B. Higgs asks, if the Chiefs built 3 statues outside the stadium, whether they move it or not, to commemorate this era, what/who would you choose?
I mean, like, I don't know that Clark's like vain enough to build a statue of himself. I think it'd have to be like players. I don't think no one's getting super excited for statues of coaches or general managers, or I think you got to go with Pat, Travis, and Chris. I think those are the 3 that probably make the most sense. And if they do a new stadium, I think that'd be a good attraction too, or even if they just renovate, right? Good thing to get people out there taking pictures in front of it and stuff like that. But those would be my 3.
I would love to try to get because you only get 3 statues. Like, if we could try to get a statue, there's 2 ideas I've had. Like, one is like you just get like a statue of the podium of one of those Super Bowls. Like, so you've got Andy, Spags, Mahomes, Chris, Travis, like get them all in there somehow. Yeah. Like just a cool, single statue type thing of just like that whole, like a shot from one of the Super Bowls, something like that. If not, it's Pat, Andy, and probably Travis. But man, I'm just trying to figure out how to get Spags on there somehow.
Even more than a statue, just do like a mural or something, right? On the stadium itself, sure. Right? Why not?
Get something. Hook them up with something like that. So yeah, I don't know, like Spags and Chris, like there's a lot. 3's tough. So I'm trying to just squeeze them all into like one big bronze mural type thing. Arrow asks, if you could add one player from Chiefs past to the current team, who would it be?
I mean, the obvious choice is like Jamal Charles because just the explosion at the running back position. You just need that, right? But I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to say I'm adding Tamba Hali to this defensive line. And I'm talking like prime, like blood dripping from his face, Tamba Hali, relentless pass rusher to add to Spags' group. I think that would make this defense that much more incredible.
I think that's a good one. I think Justin Houston potentially too. Peak Justin Houston would also be a good one. Peak Derek Thomas, I think, I think Spags would make an exception.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would hope.
I think he would too. I think he would too. I think he would too.
So yeah, I mean, they're not short. It'd be defensive line, I think, for me, most likely. Jamal's a good one though. Jamal would be so fun with this.
I mean, at least like once a week, I find myself thinking about, man, what would Jamal Charles have done in this offense with Pat? And you think about that like little last snap he had where it was the retirement handoff from Pat. That was pretty cool. But thinking about what it would have been like during a game, that just electric, right? I mean, it's already electric out there, but with a talent like that, just incredible.
Hokie Chief kind of asked a very similar statue question, so I'm going to ask this because he asked about like, okay, so there's the future Hall of Famers, right? So he goes Mahomes, Kelsey, Jones, Reed, and Spags. Okay. How would you commission these statues? So, like, give me like the pose or the outfit for some of these guys.
Well, Spags has to be
I like it.
Yeah. That one's clearly Spags. Chris with the two middle fingers up, maybe. Kelsey, maybe like the arrow pose. I don't know. That one.
That's a good one.
That might be good for Kelsey.
I like that one. Mahomes.
Man, I don't know. Maybe like flexing on him or something. I don't know.
I think I just like I had some initial just like visceral responses. Spags, I think it's like him bent over. Staring out looking at Yep. Mahomes, I think it's like it's the lower arm flex that he kind of does.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Kelsey Arrow's a good one.
Yeah.
I think Kelsey Arrow's a good one. Chris
Reed, maybe. What Chris?
Well, I was gonna say Chris, like arm overing an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And then Andy, man,
eating a cheeseburger.
I'd go for the cheeseburger right now.
Same here, man.
I think it would be something like just he's got the call sheet in his hand,
right?
Or the one holding
the IHOP menu, yeah.
Or like holding up a Super Bowl trophy.
Yeah,
I could see something like that.
That could be a good one.
Yeah. We're good at this, Charles.
I think we are. I think they should hire us to commission these statues.
I think that's what I'm hearing. Is I think we've got a new side project that we're gonna have to get off the ground. Actually, me and Charles are gonna discuss that more in detail during this break. We'll be back right after this.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown, it's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same-game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Hanging out on 21 Questions with A to Z Sports, Charles Goldman answering all kinds of questions from the KCSN Discord. Lee87 asks, if college football spins off into their own thing, separate from college sports themselves, how would that impact the NFL? What do you think?
I don't think it'd have a whole lot of an impact. I think, it'd still be, it'd still be kind of like the feeder league for the NFL. I don't think, we're already seeing college players basically get paid and whatnot. And, that'll have probably some implications down the line that we're not ready to talk about right now. But I think that, if it becomes its own beast and, it's more formally like a league that's paying people and, not treating them like college athletes, right? I think that probably won't have too much of an impact on how the way the NFL does business, because it's like the comparison between college football and the NFL, two different beasts, right? I mean, the NFL and their international market share, so on and so forth, they got a lot going for them and a lot of money behind them. And I don't think that college sports really wants to compete against the NFL in that sense. I think they're better off as two coexisting entities that kind of help each other.
So I think there's a couple tweaks that I've seen recently that make me wonder, maybe there is some changes that could affect the NFL a little bit. So one of the things is, okay, so if college football spins off and kind of does their own thing, and the governing body, whatever the eventual governing body looks like, I think that could change some things. And one of them being, an idea thrown around right now is 5 years for 5 years of eligibility. So 5 seasons over 5 years. That means that you could potentially allow college football players to play an additional season of college football. That opens up a little, and I mean, there's plenty of guys that are basically getting 5 seasons and whatnot and stuff like that. But if you are opening that door up and kind of making it a more standardized rule, I think you will see college quarterbacks stick around longer. And I think you will see a lot of these players stick around a little bit longer because the NIL deals for some of these guys as a fifth-year senior are going to probably be lucrative enough to keep them there for one more season. So I think you could see a hold off on players. So I think the players might be a little bit older coming into college football potentially on average with some structure like that. But also I think that could be beneficial to the development of quarterbacks. And I think you've seen some quarterbacks in recent memory, not everyone, but some of them have hit the ground running better with experience. And I just wonder if having more game reps under your belt helps some of these teams and helps some of these quarterbacks develop a little bit more before they get into the league. So more developmental time in the NFL and more live reps for everyone. You're going to age the players that get drafted a little bit, but I think it could be beneficial when it's all said and done for the development of these guys heading into the NFL. So I think that could be a trade-off that actually might be a good one for the league when it's all said and done. Dylan asks, Mount Rushmore of Chiefs figureheads, but not just players. It's coaches, radio hosts. He throws out Mitch Holtis. Who's on there for you?
Therese.
Ooh.
Yeah, I
I
put
love
Therese on there. I put
Oh, I
Therese
love
on
that.
there. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different
Mm.
Chiefs equipment manager Alan Wright, who's been there
Ooh.
for many, many years.
Love that.
Rick Burkholder. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many people who have an impact in this organization behind the scenes, and that are so much more deserving of credit that just don't get enough of it. I mean, our Mount Rushmore would probably have like 30 people on it if that were the case. But I mean, those are just the three that kind of just come to mind. How about you, Ken?
Well, I think another one, I think those are great ones. But another one, like Len Dawson's legacy is beyond just his football,
Right.
his actual contributions on the field. And so, like, I think he's like a slam dunk if you're even looking at just like the media side. He was such an important voice. Like, I can still hear Len Dawson's voice as a kid, as a 10, 11-year-old kid, listen to the radio.
TV, yeah.
And so, like, he was such an important, voice. Him and Denny Matthews on the Royal side are so important to my childhood. So I think Len media personality deserves to be in that conversation as well. So
Absolutely.
that'd be a big one for me. Do you think this week will be the big Noah Gray breaks through, the week that Noah Gray breaks through with a big game? What do you think?
Could be, man. I've been talking to Josh Taylor, who does our Commanders coverage over at A to Z Sports, and he's been just very concerned about the Commanders' defense going into this game. Even with the injury to Jaden Daniels, you'd think like the big concern would be like the offense, and you got a couple injured receivers coming back and whatnot. But he is just very gung ho on the defense not being as good as it needs to be right now. And I think with all the weapons the Chiefs have, it could be a guy like Noah Gray who like just goes off because he's like the forgotten man out there.
I think there's a chance the Chiefs get the Commanders into base with a 12 personnel and then spread them out and pass on early downs. And if that's the case, like that is a game script that really could benefit Noah Gray, kind of putting him in coverage against Frankie Louvu and Fred Wagner, or not Fred Wagner, Bobby Wagner. I think I just combined Fred Warner.
Bobby Wagner. I mean, that'd be a crazy combination.
The brains of both. The athleticism of Fred. Fred's hurt, and he might be a better athlete than Bobby is right now, though. That's the problem. Like, Bobby's amazing and he's smart, and it's crazy that he's still in the league, but he can't cover right now. And I think that's a challenge for him. All right, here's a fun one. What was your sports number growing up, Charles?
My sports number 32.
32?
32. And I had on the back of the jersey it said chunk muffin.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember that one.
I still got the jersey. It's in a box somewhere.
So I had two. I used number 8 a lot. So in high school, I was number 8. But this is where it's funny. My college number was 15.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you do some of the lower arm flexes when you were out there?
Charles, I kid you not. I had one long sleeve, one short sleeve.
Oh my goodness.
Wristbands on the sleeveless arm. I wore number 15.
Yeah, sweatband.
Didn't have a headband. But there was just like, there's a little bit that's like, I mean, this is before Mahomes is like, I'm not even sure Mahomes is playing football yet. But I'll send you the picture so you can see it.
Cannot wait.
All right, we got one more question before we get out of here. Bring Back Good Offense asks the favorite thing you've watched this year that's not sports related.
A TV show on Hulu called Paradise, episode number 7 of that show. Very high up on like my greatest episodes of TV of all time. That just the like tension throughout the whole episode was like palpable.
I'm gonna have to go watch Paradise.
It's really good, man.
I've heard so many good things about it.
I highly recommend it. It's completely like not the type of show that I think I even expected going into it, but man, I really enjoyed it.
I'm convinced. I'm gonna have to do it. Mine's probably Severance. Severance was exceptional this year. The season finale of season 2 of Severance is kind of up there for me from a TV perspective. Like it's a brilliant piece of television. So those would be. That's it. I'm gonna go watch Paradise. I gotta go watch it now. I need something to
two TV shows right there. We got TV trumping the movies. How about that?
I'm not as big of a movie guy. I'm pretty slow to get to movies. I just saw Interstellar this year, so maybe that counts. Like,
yeah, that counts absolutely.
It counts. So like, there's that. But yeah, no, I'm slow with movies. But man, Charles, thanks for hanging out with us, man, and answering questions from the KCSN Discord. It's always great to hear from you.
Absolutely. I love being on and happy to answer questions on the show. But if you guys have more questions, you can always just ping me in Discord. I'll probably answer.
Well, why don't you just kind of plug what you're doing, where you're at, all that good stuff real quick.
Absolutely. You can find me at GoldMCT NFL on X, formerly Twitter. I still call it Twitter, but I guess I have to call it X now. Otherwise, you might not know. You might not know, right? A2ZSports.com. You can find all of my work there and all of our writers' work there, covering all 32 NFL teams. And you can also see me if you're in the Kansas City area or not. I tweet out a link to stream it. But I'm on Fox 4 Sports Night every Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Central Time in Kansas City. So some late night sports talk show on Fox 4 Kansas City. You guys definitely have made that really fun this year. It's been really cool, and yeah, just happy to continue to cover the Chiefs in this beautiful, interesting season that we got here. A little different than the seasons of past, but definitely got some cool stuff coming up and planned around the NFL trade deadline. We've got a bunch of collaborative NFL draft work coming to A2Z Sports over the next couple months. So really excited about all that.
That's awesome, man. Make sure you're checking everything that Charles is doing. That was 21 questions presented by GEHA. That's Chuck Muffin. I'm Kent Swanson. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.